Alright, game changers, welcome back to another video here today. Now, it is no surprise, I don't think, to anybody that we already knew basically what Activision was going to tell us about skill-based matchmaking. We already knew that there would not be anything removed from skill-based matchmaking. They wouldn't tone it down. None of that. I already knew ahead of time when they said they would talk about matchmaking that they would tell us things that we already knew. So what exactly did they tell us? They told us that matchmaking includes several key factors, with connection being priority. Now, I don't know how true that is, and I don't believe that, but it says it also does factor in skill. That we know. I think more than anything, skill is factored in more than connection. It says that with skill, it considers your kills, deaths, wins, losses, and more, including mode selection and recent matches, all the factors. Now, these are things we already had an idea of, like I said before, and these are of no surprise to me, at least. I know a lot of you guys were already aware of this, that was going on, and the way they manipulate matchmaking and the factors that are put into it. But there's other questions that we had that were pending, and they did answer some of those, and I'm going to read those to you guys here. For example, one of the questions was, does the Call of Duty matchmaking process impact any in-game elements such as hit registration, player visibility, aim assist, damage, etc.? And they go on to say, no, our matchmaking process does not impact gameplay elements. And then another question was asked, does spending money on Call of Duty content such as bundles, battle pass, or a black cell change how players are matched? They said money spent does not in any way, shape, or form factor into matchmaking. And these are valid questions, by the way, and these are all questions that we all had questions about. So this is not just something where they paid somebody to kind of, come up with these questions that not all of us were thinking. These are actually legitimate questions we all had, on our mind. The last question here says, does Call of Duty use bots in multiplayer matchmaking? To which they answered, Call of Duty multiplayer does not use bots as part of the general matchmaking process. If this changes in the future, we will inform the community. Now, I hate to be one of those conspiracy theorists who think that something is manipulated in matchmaking, but I know what I felt, and it wasn't like some of the other matchmaking games I had where the connection was smooth, because in both of the games where I felt some sort of manipulation where it takes more bullets to kill somebody than the other, the ping that I had, the connection that I had, was the exact same. Nothing changed. So I really feel like there is something going on when it comes to hit registration and some of that. I don't know what it is, but I definitely have felt it before, and there's been more than one person, and I know there's some of you guys who have felt it before as well, and I'm not just making this up. I'm not the only one who is saying that they felt that. So I don't know what's going on over there, but there's definitely something up with that. But there's another question that's actually one of the most important questions about this whole thing, and I'm going to read that up right now. And here's the most important question. Have you ever tested removing skill as a consideration from matchmaking? To which they answer saying, we have run tests over the years to determine if removing skill as a consideration from matchmaking makes sense. We will continue to launch these tests periodically. To date, the data remains consistent with what we have detailed above. Players tend to quit matches or stop playing if they're getting blown out, resulting in a negative overall experience for all players in the lobby and the general player population. We purposefully do not disclose when these tests occur because it may impact feedback or the data you see during these tests, or we see during these tests. And it goes on with a follow-up question saying, have you considered removing skill from matchmaking in specific general multiplayer game modes? And they answer by saying, we have considered this in the past, and we will continue to examine if this idea makes sense as a part of an experimental playlist or in specific modes. We have nothing to announce on that front today. So basically, what they're saying is that player retention drops when people are getting blown out. But honestly, I beg to differ. I feel like back in the day when skill-based matchmaking wasn't this thick, we had a more fun and enjoyable time. That was the fun factor. We would get streaks, we would do well, because from one match to the other, it wouldn't be the exact same thing. Like, it's not if I dominate in one lobby, then the next lobby I'm going to dominate, because the people change, you know? Sometimes if you back out of the lobby, or even if you don't back out of the lobby, sometimes other players join who are actually more skillful and they put on a better competition. And it's not always a noob lobby, game to game to game. So I don't understand this whole concept where people, are getting blown out, then they quit and they're not having fun, and player retention drops. I honestly don't believe that, but I could be wrong. But that's just my perspective as a Call of Duty player who's been playing since Black Ops 1. I could tell you guys that the game modes and the matches, the matchmaking in general, and the time that I was playing during that time was a lot more fun for me. And I'm by no means am I the best Call of Duty player out there. I'm not even a high skilled player. I don't even think. I might be intermediate. I mean, might be just a normal, like maybe a slightly above the normal player, because I've been playing Call of Duty for some time now. But other than that, I feel like matchmaking during that time, when it wasn't cranked up all the way, was a lot more fun and enjoyable. And even in times where I would have a more stiff, matchmaking competition type of lobby where players were really good, I would still have an enjoyable time, not only on those lobbies or in those games where I would dominate. So right now, as far as the matchmaking and how it feels like a competition every single time, because of my skill level and all the other different factors that they've factored in. It's not fair to us because it's not fun. I feel like I have less fun now compared to before, because if now I had more mixed lobbies where I would get matches where they're easier, and even if I had stiff competition the next and not just constantly stiff tournament level lobbies every single time, I would have more fun in Call of Duty in general. That's why when we talk about missing the golden days of Call of Duty and how the good days of Call of Duty are behind us, that's the main reason why. Not because of all of the different changes in perks and all these other things. Those don't matter as much as the matchmaking itself does. The lobbies, that's what matters most. And that is exactly the reason why people talk about missing Call of Duty back in the day. Now, despite all this, there is a silver lining here, at least I hope so, because Activision did actually acknowledge the feedback of us higher skilled players. I don't even consider myself a higher skilled player, but at least a little bit above average, that are in sweaty lobbies constantly and are working, they say, to address those concerns with new matchmaking changes / tests. Although skill won't be removed 100%, we already know that the player retention is significantly impacted apparently. But they go on to say, when addressing these concerns, that game data indicates that having some limitations on the disparity of skill across players in a match makes for a healthier ecosystem. We also understand that many high skill players want more variety of experience, but often feel like they only get the sweatiest of lobbies. We have heard this feedback clearly and will continue to test and actively explore ways to mitigate this concern. Now, whether they actually do something about it is left to be seen, but I'm not going to be holding my breath on it. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys hit that like button. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell to be notified every single time I upload a video. With that being said, this is GCP signing off.